So if we're trying to figure out how it all fits together, right? Like NYC. I don't know what you thought about NYC and like the kind of words that come to your mind. And I'm not sure whether it's like amazing to you or whether it was just okay or maybe it wasn't good at all. I don't know where you're at on that. But there's no doubt that something amazing happened in NYC in a couple different ways. You've got the two houses that we built from the foundation up in 3 days, thanks to Mission Encounters' help. And that was amazing to just see that two people finally have a house where they didn't have a house before. And then what we did, we renovated 28 schools and 1 community center. And that's amazing in and of itself. But then when we came to Saturday, which is sort of our miracle day, we did our feeding of the 5,000, which turned into a feeding of the 10,000, which actually meant, as the Operation Food Search told us, it was feeding 51,000 people, or a little over 51,000 people for an entire week in one day. I mean, it's sort of amazing what happens when we join our hearts with God's heart, and God does amazing things with that, and that's just amazing. So that happened. So we did the feeding of the 5,000, which turned into the 10,000, and that's amazing. But we did a couple other things at NYC that were really fun and really amazing on Saturday. We had 500 churches sign up for 30-hour famine. Now, you got to understand that last year we had 223 churches do 20-hour famine, 233, I think, something like that. And we were looking for 1,000 churches to do 30-hour famine, right? We had 500 sign up at NYC. Right now, we have 683 churches that have either done it or signed up, and we're signing up every day. Every day, more people are signing up for 30-hour famine. That's awesome, because we want 1,000 churches to do 30-hour famine. Okay, and that's so important. I guess to really unpack it, though, I want to talk about why it's so important. Because coming out of NYC, we're really going someplace. Because we come out of NYC, we do 30-hour famine, and then we do child sponsorship. And child sponsorship is really important. But before we get to child sponsorship, I think it'd be way cool to talk about what happens for 30-hour famine. Okay, here's what happens at 30-hour famine. First of all, it's in Malawi that we're supporting, and it's a historic partnership between World Vision, Nazarene Compassionate Ministries, and NYI. And we're all three working together on it. Like before you go into Malawi and you have World Vision offices here and NCM offices here, and they're both sort of doing almost the same thing with the same group of people. Now we've combined the staff of NCM and World Vision together. We've combined the offices together. We combine all their resources together, and we don't care who gets the credit. We just want people to be helped. And what happens in that area in Malawi? What happens there? Because our partnership is specifically about Malawi. Well, here's what happens. We have what's called an area development plan. It's an area I can spell. Area development plan, ADP. And we've taken one chief's area, and there's 3 headmen. And in this 3 headmen in this one chief's area, it's a pretty large area, and it's a tribal area where they speak Chichewa. And here where they speak Chichewa in Malawi, we're working on something because these people are they're just so incredibly poor. In fact, when we were there, and the Malawi students were there with me, the kids from NYC that we took to Malawi, when we were there, we worked with them in the fields, we stayed with them in their homes, we went to the different clinics and to the schools and visited, and we ate dinners in their homes. And when we were there, it was June, and our dinner were pumpkin leaves and tree branches that we put together like kindling to eat with. And that's what they ate for dinner. They simply didn't have enough food because for all 3 areas, they only had 5 hectares of irrigatable land that would actually grow.
What's a hectare?
A hectare, I think it's like it's a British form of measurements that's larger than an acre. I think a hectare might even be 5 by 5 miles, something like that, similar to that, or 5 by 5 kilometers. I'm not really sure, but it's not very much space. And that was to feed all three headmen's, their villages, right? And you're talking about 100 families or so living in there. Well, when we get in and get involved with, there was one fish pond. Why do they need fish ponds? I mean, that seems crazy that people need fish ponds. They're not going to go fishing. What they need is they need to fish for protein. I mean, after all, if you're eating pumpkin leaves and tree branches, I mean, it's really tough to get protein in your diet. So there's starvation there, and there's just not enough food to go around. So the fish ponds, they grow the fish, they harvest the fish out. The fish ponds are about as big as this room, and so they harvest the fish out, and that's what they use for protein in their diet. And if they have any left over, then they sell it. Now there's a problem though, because with 5 hectares, they only are able to take 10% of their food to market. Because when they harvest their food, first of all, they don't grow very much because their farming techniques aren't really that good, and that's one of the things that World Vision and NCM work with them on in food security kind of plans. But not only just that, they have this intense issue that the only way they can get their crops to market is to put it on their head and carry it. So they lose most of their crop, either to spoilage or to actually as it drops out of the bag as they're carrying to market 5, 10, 15 kilometers away. It's extremely hard for them to get all of their crops to market. So they lose they only gain 10% of their crop to market. And then the fish pond, there's one fish pond only feeds, I believe it's like 3 to 5 families. So it's really difficult for them to get enough food. So with 30-hour famine, with 30 hour, all the monies we raised this year develop a 3-year plan, 3-year ADP, and a 3-year ADP. And what we'll do is we'll take 5 hectares, and that'll become 15 hectares of irrigatable land. We'll take 1 fish pond, and we'll go to 80 fish ponds. And that's so amazing because not only will there be enough food for all the families to eat of the whole area development plan with the 1 chief and the 3 headmen, it'll give them enough to actually sell to be able to have income, to get better plows, and to get more oxen, and to get better trucks. But not only do we help them do this, we buy 1 truck, and a warehouse. We build a warehouse, and they've already built their warehouse on faith that we're going to actually follow through with this area development plan. The amazing thing here is that instead of only taking 10% of their crop to market, once we give them a truck and a warehouse and have 80 fish ponds and 15 hectares, we'll begin to take 90% to market. You can only imagine what that can do to an entire area in terms of food security and crop science. But we're doing even more than that, okay? Even more than that, because in there is HIV, AIDS, and education,